Hey guys! So today we're going to talk about a very friendly, rich, and happy country. Even today, 80% of this country is uninhabited. This country has almost no paper money and no poverty. Even 10 years ago, 97% of the population had internet access. There's no army or navy. And this country is a NATO member, the only member without a standing army. Its sole defense is its Coast Guard, and the police don't have firearms with them. You can often see open doors to homes, and people leave their car keys on the seats or their children in strollers unattended outside a cafe, bar, or shop. There's no McDonald's or casinos, but there is good higher education that is provided for free, just like electricity is free as well. There are very few insects and absolutely no mosquitoes. It may be the only place on Earth where even the most cowardly tourist could set up a tent in a quiet thicket and sleep soundly. The water is so clean that it comes straight out of the faucets in your kitchen without any additional cleaning or filtering. The country has a 100% literacy rate and is also the world leader in books sold per capita. For many years, this amazing country has annually been in the top 10 countries based on quality of life. This is a real place, not a fairy tale or a tall tale. You just need to go here once to really understand that it's a reality closer than we thought. This is Iceland. It's an island country that is in the northern part of the Atlantic Ocean. This place has astounding nature, unusual volcanoes, waterfalls, and hot springs that attracts tons of tourists to come visit. Just over 300,000 people live on the small island, but they have been praised by the whole world. And that's not due to their truly fantastic landscapes, but due to the people themselves. They are the descendants of terrible Vikings who turned into sweet, cultured people. Icelanders have won the most championship titles in the World's Strongest Man competition. Winners include Magnus Vermagesson and John Paul Sigmarsson, who won 12 times each. Additionally, Björk is one of the world's most popular singers. If you need help, no one will turn you down. All you need to do is ask. They are always friendly and polite. Icelanders are also very calm and level-headed. It's hard to picture a situation where you'll make them anxious. They tend to think that all problems will be solved one way or another, and they have this outlook with their work and personal lives. They all go on vacation during the summer, which lasts from a month to 6 weeks. Almost every office clears out at the same time. Experience has shown that well-rested people are happy and work harder and with more energy, and catch up on what they missed at work quickly. Camping is extremely popular here, and there are tons of places to camp. The campsites are magnificent and have kitchens, grills, showers, and restrooms. Icelanders are extremely creative and outgoing people. They welcome anything new that can improve some process with delight. The workday starts on average at 9 a.m. and ends at 4 p.m. Employers are very loyal and can give unplanned days off before big holidays. They may also let their employees go home earlier if the Icelandic team is playing in the World Cup, for example. Iceland is the perfect country to raise and teach children. They have one of the best elementary education systems. Iceland is the third best country in literacy. Also, they have no military conflicts and have an extremely low level of criminal activity. Theft is extremely rare, and murder is essentially unheard of. The magazine Global Finance had a list of the safest countries on the planet from 2019. Iceland, no surprise, was in first place. Experts calculate the safety level of a country with a series of parameters, including possibility of war, criminal rate, and the citizen's personal safety, level of economic development, and the likelihood of a natural disaster. Iceland is followed by Switzerland, and then Finland. Countries near the top include Singapore, New Zealand, and Canada. The US is only in 65th place because of the level of violent crime, while Russia is in 108th place. Experts say it's because of the recession and the increased danger of the country for the world community. This became obvious to anyone in doubt after the onset of the Russian full-scale invasion into Ukraine in February 2022. During the world financial crisis in 2008, Iceland's banking system collapsed. The government then decided to execute a true economic miracle and made the country even wealthier than before. All the banks were nationalized, and the corrupt people were sent to prison. At some point, Iceland's government decided to not return money loaned from other countries. The people supported it. The IMF then threatened to cease any financing to Iceland, but the president didn't give in to the threats, which was the correct decision. The breaking point came in 2012 when the economy began to rapidly grow. Iceland is now one of Europe's richest countries. This was achieved thanks to the government's politics and market reforms. All this created tons of jobs that Icelanders couldn't fill themselves. The country actively attracts immigrants. Most of them come from Poland, making up about 38% of all immigrants. The hardest thing for the immigrants is learning the language. It's very difficult for foreigners. The grammar is very complex and the pronunciation is quite challenging. But 90% of the people know English, so communication won't be a problem. But English isn't enough to obtain citizenship. Since 2010, Iceland's capital Reykjavik has had a multicultural council. It is made up entirely from people who were born outside of Iceland. The council's main goal is to consult the government on issues that affect immigrants. If the immigration rate doesn't change, by 2040, 1 in 5 residents will be an immigrant. Now, you might think Iceland is a frozen northern country, right? It's called Iceland, but it isn't. The island is actually washed by the Gulf Stream, so even the coldest winter months stay around 32 degrees Fahrenheit, rarely dropping down to around 23 degrees Fahrenheit. The average summer temperature doesn't go above 68 degrees. Those days are considered state holidays and are non-working days. The country does have quite high taxes, however. They start around 37% and increase depending on your salary. Life overall is quite expensive. Because of its climate and location, the island doesn't produce enough food, so much of it is imported with varying prices. But the islanders don't complain. The average salary in 2021 after taxes was $3,300 a month, which lets the average citizen live like a pig in clover. Medical treatment is partially paid for by the government. If you spend under €27.80 on medicine in a year, you pay for everything, including your doctor's visit. But if you go over that amount, the government insurance will pay for about 90% of the total. This insurance is paid for by the taxes. The country has active unions that make sure their workers have proper rights and are always available for help. So in a time when there are many changes because of global warming, many countries have had to implement new energy solutions. Iceland's situation is unique. Today, almost 100% of the electricity consumed by this small, 330,000 population country is generated using renewable resources. Additionally, 9 out of 10 buildings are heated with geothermal energy. The story of Iceland's refusal to use mined fuel sources could inspire other countries who want to increase their portion of renewable energy sources in their total electricity consumption. In 1978, Iceland's government and the United Nations University created an international geothermal school, where specialists from different countries can take a 6-month training class, while all expenses for lodging, relocation, and food are paid for by the receiving country. Iceland's main economic branch, since time immemorial, has been fishing. Clean rivers, lakes, and oceans are rich with many kinds of fish. Fish and seafood are exported. They make up the bulk of daily food for the island. However, recently, there has been an intensive diversification of the island's industry, based on cheap renewable energy, mostly geothermal vents and hydro energy. The Icelandic government announced a large program to build aluminum factories. Biotechnology, tourism, banking, and information technologies are also rapidly growing. The rich natural energy resources help provide the Icelanders with the lives they have. Cold and hot water are very cheap and come to homes right from the ground. The water has no chemical additives in it either. You don't need to spend tons on heating either, since the water in the pipes comes from hot springs. All of Reykjavik is fed by electricity from a hydro plant that is in the crater of an extinct volcano that generates geothermal water. The city is surrounded by tons of greenhouses that grow vegetables. Iceland fully provides its own vegetables, fruits, and even dairy products. It turns out you can even grow bananas and pineapples in the Arctic Circle. These giant greenhouses grow real tropical forests. Statistics show that Iceland is in first place with Japan for life expectancy, and in the top 3 countries for level of telecommunications and biotechnology. Just 100 years ago, Icelanders lived in decrepit homes and fished for all their needs. Most of the population was illiterate, and industry and urbanization were completely unfamiliar concepts. According to Freedom of the Press, the media in Iceland is absolutely free. If you're tired of the noise of big cities, traffic jams, crowded cities, overpopulated with anxious people, ads, and cars, if you want to live simply with fresh air and nature untouched by urbanization for thousands of years, Iceland is for you. Well, that's all for today. Leave a like if you'd like to come to Iceland, and if you do go, have the hot dogs. They're fantastic. Don't forget to leave a comment too, and we'll see you next time.